Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin hold summit in Alaska. Sky
Ukraine
News is
being
doing
able
full
to
coverage.
defeat
They got
them,
Anchorage,
losing
Alaska. They got the
somewhat.
cameras on. Vladdy Poo is flying in from Russia. That's a 9-hour flight. Donald Trump is flying in from DC. That's a 7-hour flight, I believe. That's a big ass plane right there. I don't know if this is not the Qatar plane, right? That one is still being worked on, I suspect. Trump is no longer doing a one-on-one with Putin. Rubio and Witkoff will be in on the meetings as well as Putin's other advisors. My guess is Trump was told he should have some smarter people in the room. That's crazy. You won't let two lovers see one another in private? That's actually up. I love that it's going to potentially last 7 hours until we get a press conference. Dmitry Peskov, Putin's spokesman, says a summit with Trump could last about 6 or 7 hours. Hope Trump is excited to learn a lot about Yurik and Bogdan Khmelnytsky. I will say this is pretty funny that even Trump's own people who normally let him do his thing were like, bro, we can't let you do this one. Like, it is, even Trump's own people were like, yeah, we have to be in this, man. We can't let you give up Alaska. Because that was being floated. I read a report that Trump was like, yeah, we'll let them extract from Alaska. The art of the deal, baby. They're going to come out of this meeting and Donald Trump is like, yeah, I gave him North Dakota. Who needs it? We got South Dakota. We got 2 Dakotas. I said, Putin, you can have one of them. He said, there's a lot of Russian speakers in North Dakota. I gave it to him. I said, whatever. Trump tells Fox he's willing to walk away from the table. Alaska is yours. And now I said, Putin, I'll throw in Idaho for you. He said, I don't want Idaho. Nobody wants Idaho. I wanted to give him Idaho as well, but he said no. This is the reason why even Witkoff and Marco Rubio are like, we have to be in the room, sir, please. You will fuck this bag up real bad. Because like this kind of dynamic, Trump has the same dynamic with Vladimir Putin as he does with like Benjamin Netanyahu. But of course, given the way that American foreign policy works with Israel, you can have Trump eat Benjamin Netanyahu's toe jam, right? Like that's fine. That's normal American foreign policy. But you can't have him do that to Russia because Russia is a foreign adversary. So that's the reason why they were like, hey man, we have to be in this one. A White House official confirms Trump's one-on-one with Putin is no longer happening. Instead, it'll be a 3-on-3 with Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, Secretary of State Marco Rubio joining Trump. Not clear who will be joining Putin from the Russian side. For the expanded bilateral meeting and working lunch, Trump will be joined by Secretary Marco Rubio, Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary Scott Bessent, Scott Lutnick, Special Envoy Witkoff, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, per a White House official. They legitimately were like, we cannot let you, we don't trust you. We don't trust you in a one-on-one situation with Vladimir Putin, Mr. President, sir. We're going to have to deal with this ourselves. Here's Trump with, what's his face? Brett Baer, I think. One of these like potato guys who looks like he played football in high school in Peak. He's on Air Force One, Trump Force One. I think it's going to work out really well, says Donald Trump. Let's take a look.
Okay, in the office with President Trump on Air Force One, heading in. What's your initial feeling? How are you feeling about what you're going to get out of this?
I think we're going to do very well. Our country is
Dude, Fox News is going red, white, and blue on the subtitles, too.
doing very well. We're setting records economically like we never have before, including the stock markets are all at a record high. We're taking in trillions and trillions of dollars with tariffs. We're going for a meeting with President Putin in Alaska, and I think it's going to work out very well. And if it doesn't, I'm going to head back home real fast.
I mean, if it doesn't, you walk.
I would walk there.
Isn't this also kind of an L? If you just like invite Vladimir Putin, war criminal, to the United States of America, which is fine. You have to do that, right? You have to have a ceasefire. You have to have a conversation with Vladimir Putin. I don't have an issue with that, right? But like if you invite him all the way to Alaska and then you don't get anything out of it, isn't that a little bit of an L for America again? Especially because like for the past week, mainstream media has been explaining for the first time in a long time the actual conditions, the actual battleground, the actual battle lines and what they look like and how much leverage Putin currently has and how much interest Putin currently has in the continuation of its conquest, its incursion into Ukraine. This is, of course, unique as opposed to the way that they've covered this issue for the past 3 fucking years almost with very little criticism, very little accurate assessments of how things were unfolding, with the hopes that, America was just like be able to make up for the lack of manpower, right? But now they're saying Vladimir Putin doesn't really have a big investment in stopping its incursion. This doesn't mean that like Russia has all of the interest of the world to continue. Obviously, they would rather not have to continue fighting, because it's never that beneficial to continue killing people, right? Putin did the "you broke, I'm up" meme a little bit, but for that reason, I don't know where this goes. But I do recognize that there is a lot of appetite from Ukrainians that want the conflict to come to an end, that want the fighting to come to an end. They don't want to die, and they realize that the situation is untenable. They just follow whatever Trump said instead of having sincere populist beliefs. Who could have possibly seen this coming? What a big shift coming towards Ukraine among the GOP from 6 months ago. Percentage of people who think we've given Ukraine too much support has dropped dramatically from 47%. Of course, as expected, Donald Trump is able to swing his base wildly back. Holy Toledo! Let's watch Harry Enton cover the polls.
Yeah, what a big change from where we were at the beginning of the Trump administration. GOP, the U.S. gives too much support to Ukraine. Back in February, the plurality, 47%, said yes, the U.S. in fact gives too much support to Ukraine. Republicans did not like that. But look at where we are now. Look at this. No takes the cake at 46%. We have had an inverse of the positions. The Republican Party has shifted at least a little bit on Ukraine, and now all of a sudden they don't believe that, in fact, the U.S. gives too much support to Ukraine, which is very much unlike what we saw in February. Rarely do I see poll numbers like this. You read the blogosphere, you read X, you might think that Republicans think that we're way too much in Ukraine's camp, but Republicans at large no longer believe that.
And on the issue that is a big topic of debate, especially early on in the administration, supplying weapons, continued support for Ukraine in that regard, where are they?
Yeah, this is an even bigger shift. I mean, my goodness gracious. U.S. should give Ukraine more arms and military supplies. Look at this again among Republicans. In March, it was just 30%. Hello, we're now up to 51%. The majority of Republicans, and certainly majority of Americans at large, believe that the U.S. should give more arms to Ukraine. So this, to me, is just such an important point as we head into the summit later.
Very confusing presentation. It's not that confusing. Donald Trump says Ukraine bad, Ukraine enemy. Republicans in the base go, Ukraine bad, Ukraine enemy. Donald Trump turns around and says, Vladimir Putin has actually hurt my feelings because we were lovers and now he's actually fucking me over. And then Republicans go, hey, by the way, maybe Ukraine not so bad. Maybe Vladimir Putin kind of bad, at least for the interim. Watch this space. If they actually kiss and make up, for example, and Donald Trump turns around and says, and I mean this sincerely, if Donald Trump came out of that meeting saying, like, we're going to give pieces of Alaska to Russia, the base of support would literally swing for that. Oh, my God, he's such a peace lover, dude. He's so fucking goated. I love giving up American land. Donald Trump has tremendous bandwidth for 2 reasons. He has tremendous bandwidth to do whatever the fuck he wants. 1, because he's a Republican, and Republicans own the space of patriotism, and also because they're kind of fucking stupid. I'm sorry to say. Okay, so any Republican has more bandwidth than any average Democrat when dealing with things like this. The other side of the story, of course, is that Donald Trump is a cult leader. He is incredibly telegenic and speaks to a frequency that many Americans can't comprehend. However, Donald Trump supporters love it. Okay, that's it. So for those 2 factors combined, make it so that he can just say and do whatever the fuck he wants, with some exceptions like the Epstein stuff here and there. But with those like exceptions, whatever he does, whatever he says goes, whatever he does is great. Looking into this after a year, if Trump gives Alaska, he'd lose a huge group of supporters up here in Alaska. Alaska is Trump land, but they hate Putin more than they love Trump. I mean, I'm exaggerating. I don't think Donald Trump's going to give up Alaska. I don't know. I mean, I've joked about it, so maybe it will happen, because things I keep joking about end up becoming reality for some fucking weird reason. But like, the point is, Trump's base broadly will go wherever he wants them to go to.
Today, Americans and Republicans are much more on the side of
Putin's
Ukraine
here.
than they used to be. It is quite the switcheroo from where we were just a few months ago.
It's very true. And what about views of Vladimir Putin?
Yeah, what about views of Vladimir Putin? I mean, this guy is hated across the political spectrum. Unfavorable view of Putin. Look at this. Among all adults, 88%. Among Republicans, 84%. Independents, 88%. Democrats, 93%. You rarely ever find Democrats and Republicans united as much as they are on the issue of Vladimir Putin. The bottom line is they don't trust him and they don't like him.
All right, I'm still just wondering what's happening with the other 10 plus percent here.
10 plus percent believe that we faked the moon landing. So
There's a couple different factors here, okay? The reason why Vladimir Putin is viewed as unfavorable is because he has been a foreign adversary. Like give Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu 20 more fucking years and maybe the unfavorability ratings would like meet that standard. But you're absolutely correct when you say like it's because it's a foreign adversary. He's the leader of a foreign adversary. Whereas Israel, for the longest time and still to this day, is considered an ally, right? And perhaps the most significant ally. So that enmity is not built in. It's like a relatively new phenomena that people don't like the leadership of Israel to begin with. But basically, that's the reason why Putin is so hated. Because like, it's not. He's the leader of the foreign adversary, a major foreign adversary for a very long time. And not only is he the leader of a major foreign adversary, like this country is, in the eyes of many Americans, in the eyes of the average American, this is communism. This is the place where communism was invented and continued, and that's dangerous and scary. So like they don't have a decent way of looking at the situation and being like, Vladimir Putin is not representative of communism or whatever. Or, I mean, not that it even matters. There's just like a lot of fucking animosity against him, not only because he's, a bad guy in general, but also because there's a fuck ton of anti-Russia, anti-USSR. I don't even think that's true. Who under 40 associates Russia with communism anymore? Many people, I think. That kind of almost a century of anti-red propaganda doesn't go away overnight. Yeah, most Republicans wrongly believe Russia is a communist country. Poll. This is from 2022. A majority of Republicans erroneously believe that Russia is a communist country, according to a new poll. 52% of Republicans agree that Russia was operating under communism, despite the country not being communist since the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991. Among all Americans, 42% thought that Russia was communist, including 44% of Democrats.